I swear there are still roly-poly carcasses somewhere within the vent system of my helmet. You can still see the damage in the pads. Actually, no one wants to look at that. That's gross.
Let's just...
Oh yeah, and then the dog peed in it.
These pads have, I don't think, ever been washed.
Oh, gross.
Hey everybody!
Welcome back to Notier's Frontiers Diaries. Last time we were talking about our gear failures and what has not worked for us over the past few years. Well, more than a few years of riding around the world on a motorcycle.
And I'm kind of wearing my old Speedy H2 out as a tribute because this was old Bessie that did me well. But, you know, there are some patchwork that just, you know, it's seen better days.
Yeah.
It's seen some amazing things as well.
It has. It had a good life.
It did. So it's now being retired, though, and upgraded, which we're excited for.
Yes, for our next upcoming adventures to Alaska.
Yeah.
We have all new upgrades, but we did also want to tell you about what has worked and not worked for us in the past. Because the new upgrades, we don't know yet. We're hoping that they're going to be great, but we haven't tried them yet. So
high expectations.
Yes, very high expectations. But that will all be in another episode. This is about some of the things that did not work for us and some of the things that we learned while traveling around the world on a motorcycle. In the last episode, we talked a lot about this jacket and my jacket, rain gear, and boots as well. And so in this episode, we're going to start off with your eternal search for gloves.
I have yet to find, and it's more me than anything else. Because, I just don't want to commit on spending $400 at once on a pair of gloves.
Yeah.
And so I'd rather spend $500 collectively on a pair of 10 gloves. You know, but I got a little close. I bought these in Africa. You won't find them around here, you know. But they're not waterproof. When it rained, it turned my hands black. There's knuckle guard. It smelt like real leather at first, but now, like, if I pulled real hard, like, this whole little, palm protector would pop off. It's just something that I'm quite finicky with, and being somebody who needs the dexterity. I was going to say nimbility.
That works too.
Yeah. But it's just nice to have your hands dry, safe, functional. It doesn't even have to have the weird little stupid, touch fingerprint thing we use the phone on. I mean, that's last resort.
But it should definitely have that kind of palm protector, and the knuckle guard, I think, is also good for protection as well.
And breathability. I mean, a lot of the rainproof, waterproof gloves I bought at the beginning, like, you can put them on and you can hear, like, crinkle, 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 and you know that it's just you're putting your hand in a Ziploc bag with a felt liner on the outside, and then your hand is just in its own. It's like that thing from Dune, you put your hand in, and it's like, take the pain, and you're like, it's hot, it's so hot.
Remember that guy in Colombia? hotel. He was the owner of the hotel. We just happened to mention that we'd been in a rainstorm and your hands had gotten really wet in those gloves, and we were like, do you know of any place where we can buy gloves around here? And he was like, no.
Yeah.
And then what happened the next morning?
He gave me like a pair of like, you know,
bright yellow dishwasher gloves.
He was like, these will keep you dry in Spanish. Marissa's like translated everything as I'm like crying. I'm like, you're so nice.
Sweet. Yeah.
The hospitality and the generosity was very kind.
Well, I got my gloves in Ecuador, and
Yeah.
I've seen other people actually throughout South America with those same gloves. They were super cheap, but again, not very good quality. Now we're looking to invest more into gloves because they are important. For me, though, on the back of the bike, gloves aren't the most important thing in the world. I do want my hands to stay warm and dry, but if that ever happens, like a big rainstorm, I can just put my hands in my sleeves.
Yeah,
and,
she's a cheater.
Yeah, I'm a cheater.
When we were going through the Northeast doing the BDR and it was raining, you know, I was wearing these, and like not only would my hands just be dyed black, but then we'd get somewhere and like they're just these sopping wet gloves that, you know, you'd either put by like the little heater in the you know, the room if they have
and
one.
They stink.
They stink. They're never dry in time for the next morning, and so the next morning you're putting your hands back in sloppy, goopy, you know.
Yeah.
It's just...
So if anyone has any glove recommendations, we'd love to hear about it in the comments.
We'd love to hear about them. I got my eye on a pair, so
Yes.
I'm hoping that they are forever and eternally going to be amazing.
Yes,
Yeah.
more on that later.
Indeed. And so moving on from gloves,
To helmets.
helmets.
Spin and let the music begin. I know you feel it within. So go ahead and just spin. Just spin for me. Won't you spin?
My first helmet when we first took off, well, when Marissa and I first took off on our maiden voyage, we had 3/4 face helmets.
Oh, yeah.
And those were,
No.
yeah, they
No.
weren't cool. But
It made me really cold. There was a lot of rain. My face would get really wet.
Yeah.
I'd get all chapped because of all the wind hitting my face. It just was not good.
But we did look like X-Wing pilots from Star Wars.
Yeah, it did look cool.
It did, you know. We had a little mic popping out, and we're like, bravo, where are you in, Marissa? But then I upgraded, I wanted a modular helmet, like this Schubert, but before we got this one, I had a modular helmet that was just way too big for my head.
Yeah.
And probably not all that safe, and, you know.
Exactly.
I mean,
It's supposed to be like kind of doing the chipmunk thing to
Yeah.
you, right?
But then we upgraded to Schubert, and it is a modular one. There's a couple little upgrades that I have done, as you can see. The lid always stays up because of my little hair tie to GoPro mount to...
It's because the lid would fall down.
It would-
like
yeah.
this just stopped working, you know. It wasn't tight anymore.
So I've done some upgrades to my helmet. What I do like about this Schubert is that it's got the little Tom Cruise top gun thing with the visor you
Yeah.
can see there, you know.
I
and
like
that's
that too.
really nice for, you know, when it's sunny. And I like to have my visor open at all times, or else I feel like I'm just, you know, dying of
I
heat.
am the complete opposite. I always have mine closed. Unless I am also dying of the heat, I will always have it closed. I like to be able to hear my music really well. I just like kind of being in my own little bubble. And yeah, I don't feel like I'm not going to breathe.
Yeah.
There's plenty of air coming into the helmet. So yeah, I like to have it closed, but I also like that visor for that blaring sun. If you're
Yeah.
riding through the desert, you just really need that protection.
mean, because I never liked having to wear glasses on the outside or on the inside of a helmet, just because it's just, even if it's just like, some helmets have those little slits, and even if it's like, half a pound of pressure on it, just after an hour, it's just like, oh, this is the most miserable thing in the world.
It's like vibrating against your nose.
But I will say the good thing about the Schuberth here too, what I really liked, it's like the shell size of it is more, NASCAR human size opposed to like space astronaut bubblehead.
So with the little, you call it the Tom Cruise visor.
Top Gun.
The Top Gun visor. We're going to, in our new helmets, have the transition visor. So we'll see how that goes.
A little spoiler alert, I have most of my new gear, and I won't spoil alert of who it may be. But I got some nice stuff that fits me well. I'm excited to show the world. We just kind of wanted to go over what we have had, what has worked, what has failed, and then a little bit of excitement for what is to come. Marissa's will hopefully be coming
Very
next
soon,
week.
Yes.
Yeah.
So now I also have a Schuberth helmet. I was actually the original person with it because I got mine on sale. It's a very good brand. I liked it a lot. But because it was a very small size, they couldn't sell it. And so I got half off. I was very happy about that. But it's exactly the same as yours. Even though it's a much smaller size, the shell of it is exactly the same size. They just add a lot more padding. That's usually how these things work.
And, I mean, I think that goes from like extra large, like Thunderdome people, to like, your standard helmet and then your youth helmets. And so I think it's more safe to have an adult helmet with more padding than a youth helmet with less padding. So,
exactly.
So,
but one thing that we learned very early on in our trip was that if we put our helmets on the ground, things would crawl in them. And this is the same with our boots. So we started carrying plastic bags around. And I would get a plastic bag that was big enough for me to put my entire helmet in. And then plastic bags to cover our boots, because I had a roly-poly infestation. I swear there are still roly-poly carcasses somewhere within the vent system of my helmet. They just went in there and I was never able to get them out. I also had, when we were in Botswana, elephant poop.
Yeah,
So what are you going to do with it? Oh, gosh.
I will give it a good
Yeah. Even though I had covered it all up with the plastic bag and tied it really tight, some termites decided that they wanted to start a new termite colony in my helmet. And I wish I had a picture of it at the time, but I was so upset that I was just like tearing out what they make. It's like concrete. It's really, really hard. But you can still see the damage in the pads. Actually, no one wants to look at that. That's gross.
Let's just take a...
It's really gross in there.
Marissa's helmet is...
It's seen some things.
It's used and abused. It's,
It really has.
She's had her helmet longer than mine, so I mean that's
Yeah, this is a full 4 years of just every single day. Oh yeah, and then the dog peed in it.
Gross. Yeah, you had your helmet's seen some gross things.
Believe it or not, these pads have been washed on many an occasion, and they started out quite white, but
these pads have, I don't think, ever been washed.
Oh, gross.
My crown of filth.
One thing that I do, and this is partly because of my hair, but partly because I just kind of like the idea of it, is I take my neck buff and I flip all my hair back and put it over my head and then put my helmet over that. I like that system because it keeps my hair out of my face if the wind were to kind of get into the helmet. And you know, you always got like one hair like tickling your nose or something. This way it keeps it all out of my face. But also I can wash, like if I'm sweating throughout the day, it's almost like sheets below a comforter. I can just, you know, wash it at night, hand wash it in the sink, and then it's dry by morning, and I feel like, oh, I have fresh new sheets in my helmet.
Not me. Mr. Stinks a lot.
Does that make any sense?
It does. That was a brilliant analogy.
Yes, thank you.
Your helmet is the comforter. Your little
That's right.
neck thingamajigger is the sheets.
Even with that, I have washed this a lot, but you know, it is what it is.
Schuberths have been really good helmets for us, and we definitely, I'd say, give them 2 Notiers thumbs up.
That's right.
What's our grading scale?
Well, there are, you know, drawbacks to everything, and I think if we had to name some cons, it would be that we found that the ventilation system was not the greatest. I didn't feel like this wonderful breeze coming through my helmet. No. I'm not sure any helmet does, but I think it was a very hot helmet. Yeah,
hot-headed, I always say, Marisa is. Pretty much always. Well, that's why I always had my visor open as well. And Marissa's little Tom Cruise Top Gun thing kind of broke. Mine's still live action hero, but
mine broke immediately. It would just never go down or go up all the way. I don't know if that's because I have a theory, but Tim thinks it's crazy.
It's crazy. I don't even know.
Because it's black and it gets really hot in the sun, and one day it was just roasting in the sun, and then I went to put the visor down and it wouldn't go up all the way.
It's crazy.
I think it shrunk it.
Nope. I think a mechanical connection somewhere had gone astray. That's my theory.
I think it shrunk in the sun.
Yes. They're Beetlejuiced. But yeah, good helmet. And you can see mine, I kind of Mad Maxed out with a bunch of little stupid stuff. We used to have our Sennas over here, you know, a couple GoPro mounts, you know, 360 mount up here on top of the rooster. You know. Now,
there's always the debate, if you do have an intercom system, where do you put that microphone? If you have one of those microphones that sticks out, and you know, that's fine. But for us, we liked to have a microphone somewhere in the helmet. At first, we put it in the nose part of the modular helmet.
But the strap wasn't, or the cord wasn't long enough when it opened and shut. But you can see, we very elegantly had placed ours right here on the side, and it worked.
And that's what we will continue to do.
Yeah, and we're also upgrading our intercom system, so we're going to be a whole new outfit.
Yeah.
We're going to be outfitted newly. How do we say this intelligently? We're going to look like different Power Rangers.
That's right.
So I'm extremely excited.
Now I'm going to look like a Teletubby because
she will
I
look
always
like
do in a
Marvin
helmet.
the Martian. This is true.
So thank you so much for watching this episode. I hope you liked it. If you have any questions for us, you know, just ask us in the comments and we'll do our best to answer. And I hope to be seeing you next time.
Thanks, everybody.
Hit the subscribe button below with the notification bell.
Stay safe.
Bye.
Peace.